In any organization, if you don't have your finances well grounded and looked after very carefully, it can very often mean the end of the organization. Many organizations in Kenya have actually gone into bankruptcy, and when you then have to resuscitate them, if you've got the government behind you, you can do that, but otherwise they go into oblivion. They just cease to exist. So I'm the finance person on the board of directors of AHETI, and I think it's important to realize that, you know, when we're talking about a revolving fund, it means that a person doesn't give us, let's say, $100 million with the idea that that's it, they don't want it back. A revolving fund, very often you put in $100 million, and what you try to do is you try to run the entity on the return that you get on that $100 million, so that you don't actually spend the $100 million itself. This $100 million remains intact. One of the most important things, I think, is that, you know, unfortunately, we see entities in the United States of America, in Germany, and in the UK, making incredible amounts of money out of things which could very easily be done in Africa. And what we've got to understand is, you know, we in Africa, first of all, we have to remember that if I am looking after my own personal interests and put that before the interest of the country, that is going to have a disastrous effect on the people of that particular country. And you know, if you take a country like Haiti, Haiti is the poorest country in the Western Hemisphere. It has been independent for more than 200 years. But you don't have the rule of law, you don't have people thinking about the country. They had a dictator who was thinking only about himself. Papa Doc Duvalier was his name, and he basically ruined the country. So we've got to understand, for the good of the people of Africa, we have to put the country before ourselves. And you know, I was talking to a man yesterday in Nairobi, and you know, we were admitting to one another, look, the rich people in Kenya have no regard whatsoever for the poor people. They just simply, you know, the poor people are a nuisance for those people. They will be used, they'll pay the minimum salaries. They may be earning 3 million shillings a month, but they will pay their own servants 15,000 shillings a month. Now this is absolutely ridiculous. So the rich people in these countries have got to realize, you know, you've got to give back. Anything which you don't really need to live on belongs to the poor. And you've got to have this clearly in your mind. And you know, the whole thing of private property is a very important thing, because, you know, that's when I will look after things. But if I actually am well endowed enough, I found myself in a family. I didn't choose my parents. I found myself in a family. And people find themselves in life. Some people have got gifts which other people don't have. But you know, when you get, for example, footballers who are paid billions of shillings every year, and they then live a lifestyle which is just, you know, crazy. And that's it's not something uncommon amongst Hollywood stars, etc., 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 the rich people in the Western world. But this is a waste of a life. You've got to realize that anything which you don't need actually belongs to the poor. And if you have that idea very clearly in your mind, you know, there are things which, when I came up to Kigali yesterday, people are carrying so much luggage. I just wondered, are these people emigrating from one place to another? Because they've got belongings which are surplus to their needs. Give them away. Look after the poor in every country in the world.